Do you know what day two looks like? I do. I have spent decades thinking about it, planning against it, fighting it. Day two is stasis. It is when a company stops moving forward and starts managing what it already has. Day two is irrelevance. When your customers stop caring because you stopped caring first, day two is followed by an excruciating, painful decline and then death. That is what day two looks like. 98% of businessmen drift into day two thinking without even realizing it. They wake up one morning and wonder why their business feels heavy, why decisions take forever, why customers are leaving. They do not understand that they crossed over. Only 2% of businessmen manage to stay in day one for decades. I have spent my entire career studying what separates those two groups. Today, I am going to show you exactly what the 2% understand that everyone else misses. Let me take you back to the early days of Amazon. 1997. We were losing money, a lot of money. People told me I did not understand business because I was not focused on profits. Investors were nervous. Analysts were skeptical. I told them they did not understand the future because they were not focused on customers. That single difference in focus is the entire game. It is the line between day one and day two, between growth and decline, between relevance and death. The 2% understand this at a level most people never reach. They understand that staying in day one is not a strategy you choose once. It is a fight you commit to every single day. Here is what most businessmen do not understand. They say they care about customers, they put it in their mission statements, they talk about it in meetings, but when you watch what they actually do, they are staring at their competitors. Every decision is based on what the competition is doing. They wake up and check competitor pricing. They study competitor features. Their entire strategic framework is built around matching or beating someone else. And that is how you guarantee mediocrity. Because if you are staring at your competitor, the best you can ever be is as good as they are. You become a mirror. You lose the ability to invent. Let me tell you what customer obsession actually means. It means you ignore what your competitors are doing and focus completely on what your customers need, even when they cannot articulate it, especially when they cannot articulate it. In 2005, no customer woke up and asked for Amazon Prime. Nobody emailed us saying they wanted to pay $99 a year for free 2-day shipping. If we had asked customers what they wanted, they would have said lower prices. That is always what they say, but we were not asking what they wanted. We were obsessing over what would make their lives better. We were watching their behavior. We saw the friction. We saw them calculating shipping costs. We saw them waiting to bundle orders. We saw them leaving items in carts, and we invented a solution they did not know was possible. That is customer obsession. It is not about listening to what people say. It is about understanding what they need before they do. It is about inventing on their behalf. And you cannot do that if you are watching your competitor, because your competitor is not inventing either. They are watching you. The 2% understand this. They build their entire operation around the customer, not the competition. And that gives them the freedom to invent the future instead of copying the past. But even if you have the right focus, there is another trap waiting for you. A trap that kills even customer-obsessed companies. It is one of the most insidious forces in business. I call them proxies. As your company grows, you need process. You need systems. You need ways to maintain quality without me personally checking every decision. That is normal. That is necessary. But here is where it goes wrong. Over time, people stop looking at the outcome and start looking at the process. The process becomes the proxy for the result. You stop asking, did we solve the customer problem? You start asking, do we follow the process? Do we have the right meeting? Do we fill out the right form? Did we get the right approvals? The proxy becomes more important than the thing it was supposed to represent. I see this everywhere. A team will come to me with a failed product and they will defend it by saying, we followed the process. We did everything right. We had the meetings. We ran the tests. We checked all the boxes. And I have to stop them and say, but the product failed. The customer did not want it. The outcome is what matters, not whether you followed the steps. But in many companies, following the process is how you protect yourself. It is how you cover your liability. You can fail as long as you failed the right way, as long as you have the emails to prove you did your part. That is day 2 thinking. That is how you die. The 2% are obsessed with outcomes, not proxies. They use process as a tool, not a shield. They ask the hard question constantly. Is this process still serving the result, or has it become a substitute for thinking? And when they find a proxy, they kill it immediately. Because proxies are entropy. They are the universe trying to drag you into mediocrity. Every system you build wants to become a proxy. Every metric you track wants to replace the outcome. You have to fight this every day. You have to remind your team that the scorecard does not matter if we lose the game. The checklist does not matter if the customer leaves unhappy. The process does not matter if the result is wrong. Outcomes, always outcomes. Let me ask you this. Are you hiding behind a process right now? Is there a decision you are avoiding because you have not completed the right steps yet? Is there a meeting you are waiting for, an approval you need, a metric you are tracking instead of solving the actual problem? That is the proxy trap, and it is killing your speed. Which brings me to the next thing the 2% understand. High velocity decision making. Most businessmen are terrified of making decisions. They wait, they gather information, they form committees, they run more analysis, they want certainty, they want to be sure. And that hesitation is what kills them, because while they are waiting for perfect information, the world is moving, the customer is moving, the competition is moving, and they are standing still, waiting to be sure. Here is what I learned. You can make a high-quality decision with 70% of the information you wish you had. If you wait until you have 90%, you are too slow. Speed matters in business. It matters more than people think. And the key to speed is understanding what kind of decision you are making. I talk about this a lot. Type 1 decisions and type 2 decisions. Type 1 decisions are one-way doors. They are irreversible. If you walk through that door, you cannot come back. Those are the decisions that require careful thought. Launching a new business line, acquiring a company, building a massive infrastructure. Those are type 1. You better be careful. You better get close to 90% of the information. But most decisions are not type 1. Most decisions are type 2. They are two-way doors. You can walk through, see what is on the other side, and come back if you do not like it. You can reverse them. You can change course. The mistake that 98% of businessmen make is treating every decision like a type 1 decision. They treat changing a website layout like it is launching a new business. They treat testing a new feature like it is an acquisition. They move slowly on things that should be fast. They debate endlessly on things that are reversible. And that kills velocity. The 2% understand the difference. They move fast on type 2 decisions. They experiment. They test. They try things knowing they can undo them. And they reserve their slow, careful thinking for the true one-way doors. That asymmetry in decision speed is what gives them an advantage. While everyone else is stuck in meetings debating a reversible decision, they've already tried it, learned from it, and moved on to the next thing. Let me give you an example. In the early days of Amazon Web Services, we had to decide whether to launch with a certain set of features or wait until we had more. Classic debate. Some people wanted to wait, make sure it was perfect, get every feature right. Others wanted to launch fast and iterate. It was clearly a type 2 decision. We could launch, get feedback, and improve. We were not building a physical infrastructure we could not change. We were building software, so we launched fast. And it was not perfect. Customers told us what was missing, we added it. They told us what was broken, we fixed it. And we moved faster than anyone else in the market because we understood it was a two-way door. We did not need perfect information. We needed customer feedback. And you only get that by moving. Now, here is where it gets interesting. Even if you have customer obsession, even if you avoid proxies, even if you make decisions fast, there is still one more thing that separates the 2%. Their relationship with external trends. Most businessmen fight trends. They see something new and they resist it. They say, that is not how we do things. They say, our customers do not want that. They say it is a fad. They dig in. They protect the old way. and that resistance is what kills them. Because trends are not suggestions. Trends are the future arriving whether you like it or not. I learned this early when the internet was taking off. There were a lot of skeptics. A lot of smart people said it was overrated. That retail would always be physical, that people would not trust buying things online. They fought the trend and they lost because the trend was real. The world was changing. The customer behavior was changing, and you could either embrace it or get left behind. I chose to embrace it. I built Amazon on the assumption that the trend was real and accelerating, that customers would not just accept online shopping but prefer it. And that bet defined everything. The same thing is happening now with machine learning and artificial intelligence. Some people are fighting it. They say it is overhyped. They say it will not impact their business. They say they will wait and see. That is day two thinking. Because if you fight a trend, you are fighting the future. You are swimming against the current, and the current always wins. The 2% embrace trends. They see a tailwind and they use it. They do not ask if artificial intelligence is real. They ask, how do we use it to serve customers better? They do not resist machine learning. They integrate it. They ride the wave instead of fighting it. Here is the key insight. You cannot stop a trend. You can only decide whether you benefit from it or get crushed by it. When a major trend is happening, you have two choices: embrace it early and get the advantage of the tailwind, or resist it and spend all your energy fighting the current until you run out of strength. The 2% always choose the tailwind. They are not smarter, they are not braver, they are less attached to the old way. They understand that the universe does not care about your business model. The universe does not care about how you used to do things. The universe has entropy. It wants everything to settle into equilibrium. It wants you to be average. And the only way to fight that is to embrace change, not resist it. Let me bring this all together. Customer obsession over competitor obsession, outcomes over proxies, high velocity decision making, embracing external trends. These are the 4 pillars of day one thinking, and they are hard. They go against every instinct that got you successful in the first place. Because when you are small, you can stay close to the customer naturally. You do not need process because there are only 5 of you. You make decisions fast because there is nobody to ask. You embrace trends because you have nothing to protect. But as you grow, all of that changes. You hire people, you build systems, you create departments. You have something to lose. And that is when the drift happens. That is when you start watching competitors instead of customers. That is when process becomes more important than outcomes. That is when you slow down on decisions because the stakes feel higher. That is when you resist trends because change feels risky. And one day you wake up and realize you are in day 2. You do not know when it happened. You do not remember crossing the line, but you are there. The business feels different, heavy, slow, political, and you wonder what went wrong. What went wrong is you stopped fighting. You stopped treating every day like day 1. You let entropy win. The 2% never let that happen. They build systems to fight it. They create mechanisms that force customer obsession. They design processes that resist becoming proxies. They reward fast decision-making and punish waiting for certainty. They hire people who embrace trends instead of people who protect the past. They make day 1 thinking structural, not accidental. Here is what most people miss. Staying in day 1 is not about working harder. It is not about longer hours or more effort. It is about constant vigilance against the things that kill companies. It is about waking up every morning and asking the same questions. Are we obsessed with customers or watching competitors? Are we measuring outcomes or hiding behind process? Are we making decisions fast or waiting for certainty? Are we embracing the future or protecting the past? Those 4 questions will tell you if you are in day 1 or drifting into day 2. And if you are drifting, you have to correct immediately, not next quarter, not after the next meeting. Now, let me tell you why this matters beyond business. It is about how you live your life. I have a framework I use for major decisions. I call it the regret minimization framework. When I am 80 years old and looking back on my life, what will I regret? Will I regret trying and failing? or will I regret never trying at all? When I left a stable job to start Amazon, people thought I was crazy. I had a great career, a good salary, security, and I was going to throw it away to sell books on the internet. It did not make sense to most people, but I used the regret minimization framework. I knew that if I did not try, I would regret it for the rest of my life. I knew that failure would be okay because at least I tried. But never trying would haunt me, so I did it. Staying in day one is the same thing. It is not about maximizing profit. It is about maximizing the adventure of your life. It is about building something that matters. It is about inventing the future instead of managing the past. It is about waking up excited instead of tired. That is what the 2% understand. They are not in business to be comfortable. They are in business to be alive, to create, to serve customers in ways that did not exist before, to push against entropy and see what is possible. And when you frame it that way, the choice is obvious. Day one is not the safe choice, but it is the only choice that lets you live fully. So here is my final question for you. Are you in day one or day two? Be honest, not with me, with yourself. Are you obsessed with customers or watching competitors? Are you focused on outcomes or hiding behind process? Are you making decisions fast or waiting for certainty? Are you embracing the future or protecting the past? If you are in day two, you can get back to day one, but you have to decide right now. Not tomorrow, not next week, right now. Because every day you wait, the gap gets bigger. The habits get stronger, the entropy gets harder to fight. It is always day one. That is not a slogan. It is a commitment. It is a way of thinking. It is a refusal to let the universe drag you into mediocrity. The universe wants you to be average. It wants your business to settle. It wants you to stop inventing and start managing. And the only way to fight that is to wake up every single morning and decide that today is day one. That today you start fresh, that today you obsess over customers, ignore proxies, make fast decisions, and embrace the future. That is the fight. That is what the 2% understand. And if you are ready to join them, if you are ready to fight entropy and stay in day one, then we have work to do. Subscribe, because this is just the beginning.